We are pleased to welcome Jessica Cavazos to the Kingdom Justice Summit. Ms. Cavazos serves as the President and CEO of the Latino Chamber of Commerce. She has made it her goal to be a champion for economic equity, aimed at Wisconsin's growing Latino constituency. As a granddaughter of farm workers, she is a strong advocate for farm laborers' rights and advancement. Jessica has been named Hispanic Woman of the Year, awarded the Key to the Latino Community in Milwaukee, received an award as the Latino Community Leader of the Year in Madison, recognized as the Small Business Administration's Small Business Champion of the Year, and most recently was added to Brava's 2021 Women to Watch. Jessica is a loving mother of 3 and shares her home with her partner, Tamo, on Madison's west side. Though born in Texas, she was raised in Milwaukee and is Wisconsin proud to the core. Please join us in welcoming Jessica Cavazos.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to be here, especially because we're going to be touching on subjects that are so important and that really, I think in a time where we need so much healing and so much advocacy and a lot of prayer in these days, I think all of you can make such a big difference in how we carry on and how we mobilize communities, especially here in Dane County. As the President and CEO of the Latino Chamber of Commerce, I am so proud to be able to represent diverse communities on the economic front. For me, it's really important to have a voice and to allow others to have that voice through me and through the Chamber to be able to be part of our economy. Our economy has suffered so much in 2020 and now in 2021 as we hit the recovery. It's going to need all of us to help our small businesses, our communities that are suffering. We have high unemployment rates. We have communities that are facing homelessness. We have communities that are in peril because they don't know what's going to happen next. So I think as a community, it is our responsibility to advocate and provide resources to be a community of hope, to be able to mobilize in the way we can each person that we touch, whether it be passing through the store, it could be someone on Facebook, it could be somebody, anyone on social media. I think it is our responsibility to be positive and to also share our resources, what we can do, if it's in a form of a donation or if it's a form of just giving a word of encouragement. This is the time. As the president of the Latino Chamber, my job normally is to advocate for healthy economies. It is to advocate for Spanish speakers. It is to advocate for those who want the opportunity to solidify their place in the economy through business development. Sometimes that doesn't happen that easily. So historical economic inequity affects many of us, no matter the color, the place you were born. There are a lot of barriers, but with my role in the Chamber, I hope that we are able to mobilize our economy through a diverse population, no matter where you come from, and no matter what the history, whether you're first generation, whether you're an immigrant, whether this is the time to really help others, really find the American dream. And as I find my family story about the American dream, I can tell you that when I advocate, it really comes from a very personal place. My mom came here when she was 16 as a nanny. She worked, she was probably as old as the children she worked and mentored and helped. And as soon as she turned 17, they graduated, so she had to figure out what she was going to do. She came to the United States really with a dream to help her family. She comes from a family of 8, and she's the eldest. So she always had to help her family progress. She was born in a small little town in central Mexico that is called Jocoqui, Guanajuato. And that, I always say, I'm not even sure how they got out of that small village because it wasn't until the 80s that they even had running water. So my mom came to Mexico City. At the age of 9, she started working, washing clothes and helping her mom with the smaller children so her mom can go to work. And that story now happens to impact me more and more each day. Because as I become an advocate for immigrants, as I become an advocate for Latinos who have the same trajectory and the same story my mom has or had, right? And seeing the outcome and how amazing of a woman she is and how much she actually gives back to our society and the community and her church and as a homeowner and as a retiree. And I just think that why not give that opportunity to others? And so it is a great honor to do the work that I do, because I always feel the chamber is just a vehicle. The chamber could be like any other chamber, that we could have networking events and outreach events and you name it, what chambers do. But I really wanted to see this chamber be that vehicle for change, that vehicle for equity. And using my experience as a congressional liaison, former congressional liaison, and knowing that advocacy is really like the best way, because advocacy basically is educating people on an issue. It's letting them know exactly how things are. And going back to my mom's story, how amazing the outcomes when you do invest in others. So as a child, I was raised basically with my grandmother, because my mom came to Wisconsin and she wanted to find a better job and a better opportunity for myself. And my mom was a teen mom. She was 18 years old when she arrived to Wisconsin. And she left me in Mexico because she had no other choice. She had no other, she didn't know where she was going to sleep the next day. She didn't know how she was going to eat. And she said it was probably most important for her to figure that out before involving a child. And I was probably about 6 months. But this story is the story of a lot of the people that I've served, in the chamber, that we serve in the chamber. It's a story of a lot of people that are crossing our path at the current moment, where our broken immigration system does not serve the purpose of what it should have done, and to have families together and to give an opportunity to be a collective force in this country. It doesn't give us the opportunity to be able to mobilize our economy or to even know what our part in the economy is. So as an advocate, I always feel that the chamber's position right now should be to advocate its allies, its partners. It's to have this platform right here, to able to connect with people and to say, hey, this community really gives back and is helping our great American, United States of America, our great nation, progress. It helps our economy flourish. When COVID happened, I don't know if you all remember, but COVID hit from one day to the other. It's not like we all knew that it was happening or what was going to happen in the future, but it happened. And the only people that were actually, when the mandates came down, the only people that were servicing others were a lot of immigrant communities, a lot of communities of color, a lot of disadvantaged communities that didn't have any other choice. Their employers didn't give them a choice. Our economy didn't give them a choice. The president didn't give them a choice. It wasn't a choice. It was either you work or you don't eat, or you get fired. And so all these issues happened, and the chamber really at that moment, I think, and I always say the chamber because I am not alone. I have a wonderful staff of 4 and then a great board of 12 that really try to decipher what is the most important position to take as an organization, and how we clearly advocate for that population or that initiative at the moment. But during COVID, I believe the immigrant community was highly impacted. We saw at the chamber, from our service model, we saw 2,100 people cross our doors in 2020. Of those 2,100, 1,600 were businesses, business owners, were families, all impacted by COVID. Think about how when someone is going through an ordeal and they have a business and they are not only paying 2 rents, they're paying staff. They have to make those tough decisions whether to let go of someone or keep them. And that interconnectivity and care that we all have for our employees or for people we work for is there. So there were a lot of big decisions being made and not a lot of time to actually pivot, right? Like that word pivot that everyone's using now. So the chamber became very proactive. The day after we decided that we were going to set up a call line that people could call. We partnered with Lighthouse Church, and they were the biggest advocate for our initiative at that time. We did wellness checks to our members through the teachers at Lighthouse Church and the staff at Lighthouse Church. It was an amazing community effort, but we couldn't have done it alone. We couldn't have taken 1,900 calls alone. We couldn't have serviced 1,900 people or 2,100 people alone. The reality is that at that time, community mattered most. And I think during COVID, my parents who are they're preachers, and they believe that it is through the work of God that we can only move forward, said to me, what COVID did is it made us understand that we need each other. And this is a time that I would tell you that if any time that we have to collaborate, regardless of race or regardless of background or language barriers, it's now. I would love to ask everyone here that to get to know your neighbor, to get to know the person that you work with, the person that really impacts you. I always say thank you to when I go to the supermarket, I say thank you to the cashier, and I'm like, thank you for your work, thank you for being here. It is something that I think, as I see our economy going, and there's this dip that's going to happen in the next couple of months as we try to figure out the vaccine, and I want to tell people that without each other, we are not able to mobilize to succeed. And I hope that as a chamber that we do that, as an organization that really cares about its constituents, that we're able to make an impact. And the next thing that I hope to do is tell the story of that immigrant that is now making such an impact in our economy. And again, I want to thank you for having me. I want to thank you for, allowing me the space. And also, I just want to tell you that it is up to all of us to make a difference in each other's lives.